Hey y'all, it's your girl Iyanna Pierre-Louis, and you are tuned in to another episode of the Archives of an Alchemist. It is with great pleasure that I'm here once again in your earwaves, your eye waves, your byways, all of the things, child. I'm just happy that we are able to commune again as we start off this week. And if you are new here, this is where we turn our hardships into gold. I am documenting the things that I receive as far as downloads, the revelations that I receive as I am going through my own journey. And this journey has consisted of healing. This journey has consisted of dismantling a lot of the scripts that have been operating in the background of my life for practically majority of my life. You know, I turned the big 3-0, and with that has come a lot of changes, a lot of transformation inward, and my whole life has just turned upside down, and it's only because God is turning it right side up. LOL. And yeah, so that's just a little bit about me, a little bit about what we talk about if you're new here, because I know that I'm marketing this podcast a lot more via the social medias, and we're now on YouTube for all of my listeners here. Just to let you know, we're on YouTube, so definitely check us out there, subscribe, help the family grow, help the channel grow in order for it to bring more knowledge into other people's life. A lot of the things that I'm going through, I don't think I'm a monolith. I don't think I am one of one, truly. I believe God is using me as an example outwardly, so folks can have some insight as to what this journey really does look like, what it really means to follow God in spirit and in truth, and how it's requiring a whole new version of me, which goes into basically what we're talking about today. So the topic of today is something, the title, I'm going to make it sound cute and quirky. It's going to have something with new in it, because I believe that has been my latest revelation as far as just what life looks like right now. I believe what has helped me to this point, I believe it can't carry me on further, is just the recalls of how God moved in my life in the past, and how when I was ever in a situation, what it looked like, the timing of it, how I ended up always on the other side. And although all of these things will be in the background, continuing and creating that foundational faith that I believe that was the purpose for it, was to create that foundation level of faith. But I believe God is requiring me to enter new depths of faith. I believe it's requiring a new intimacy with God. It's requiring a new version of myself. It's really requiring everything to be new. And I want to get into our anchoring Bible verse of today, because during this season of my life, I've been just reminding myself of this, and it came up in my head, I don't know at what I was doing, but this was like, it rung in my head as a reminder, because I'm just looking around and I'm like, whoa, this is not what happened the last time. Like, this is not the last time. Okay, I feel like there's just going to be a point in all of our lives, and I feel like I'm recognizing this point and documenting it. But I know us as individuals, we will always encounter a point of our lives where we have to let go of the things of our past and take on new identifications and new definitions and new trajectories. I believe we all are met with this crossroads, and I believe up until this point, the old things can no longer serve me in this new arena of my life. So here we are with the anchoring verse of the day from Isaiah 43. Oh, 43. Isn't that funny? That's a number I've been seeing a lot lately. 43, verse 18 to 21. If you want to reach and go get it for your own Bible or whatever. I'll repeat it once more. Isaiah 43, verses 18 through 21. And it reads, "Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up, do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. The wild animals honor me, the jackals and the owls, because I provide water in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland, to give drink to my people, my chosen, the people I formed for myself, that they may proclaim my praise." Ooh. Okay, so if we want to do a little Bible study, let's get into it. Just for those who are listening and don't necessarily understand what I just read. So from my understanding, these are the things that stick out to me. Wilderness. Okay, wilderness. That sticks out to me because I believe, and if you have any level of insight what the wilderness is where God takes you in order to mold you and to get you prepared for whatever your next is. So one thing you will realize in a lot of the Bible stories there was a period of wilderness. Jesus, before they came out into the world as who they were, they had to go through a wilderness. As soon as Jesus was baptized, he was led into the wilderness. The Israelites, wilderness. John the Baptist had a wilderness. And I use these names because, of course, these are prominent names that you hear about, and you hear about how God parted the Red Sea for the Israelites, and you hear about how John the Baptist made way for Jesus, and you hear about how Jesus died on the cross for us and rose on the third day. But one thing about it, we all tend to forget, and sometimes this part of the Bible doesn't have to happen to be preached as much, as far as like the wilderness and what is that before these entities that we know so much have acquired the level of status that they have acquired. For instance, the wilderness for the Israelites was the desert. The desert is very barren. All you see is sand everywhere. You don't really see much life. And that is just a metaphor when we are in our current situations and how we don't necessarily see life, and we don't necessarily see in our physical sense what could be coming of this, where we don't have any insight. However, one thing when I was doing my studies is that the wilderness is really a area that God is like viewing. You know, when you think about the cattle and how they graze over certain pieces of land, even though their trajectory and everything they look at is like grass for miles and miles on end, but it's still a protected area for the said cattle and for the said animals. And which is why God speaks about the specific wild animals that provide and bring him praise for still creating streams in the wasteland and still making a way in the wilderness. Because like I said, the wilderness is usually a barren spot. When you think of wastelands, you think of dead places, you know what I'm saying? They don't have no life. Usually water signifies life. So that's why specifically in this word, it speaks about streams in the wasteland, because that is the complete opposite of what happens in the wasteland. It's the complete opposite of what happens in the wilderness. Paths, water. These things are not to be seen in certain areas. So I'm giving y'all, this is a slight Bible study so y'all can understand how to read your own Bibles and how to get more edified when you read your word, so you can apply it to your normal day-to-day lives. And I'm telling you these things that stick out to me because currently in my physical situation, it's giving wasteland, it's giving wilderness. And I believe we all will have a moment in our times where we will be met with wilderness and wastelands. But take heart, you know, like God still provides water in the wilderness. God still makes ways in the wilderness, you know, and specifically for his chosen people. So the people that he has called to himself and those who have accepted him as Christ and God, and that you believe that he rose and lived and died and all of the things. That is what's given to us. That is our portion, is to always be provided for no matter what happens in our lives, right? That is our portion. That is our reminder that God will make ways out of no ways just because we are his chosen people. So I tell you these things that stick out to me, but the main thing that we're going to be speaking about, forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? So I want to talk about that mostly because I have been met with this revelation that I am looking back too much. I keep looking back at what God has done in the past. And yes, that is to build on my faith. It only can get me this far because that's old principles, that's old ideations, that's old experiences that I've had with God. But now I'm entering into a season where it's going to be new. This is a new experience for me. So it's hard to bring in the old things and bring them into this season when it's not necessarily the same. You know, I've never been here before. And the line where it says, do you not perceive it? Because for me, I didn't perceive it. You know, I'm just consistently going back to what happened before. I'm going back to what the timelines looked like before. I'm going back to how far it got, how much it required out of me. I keep reverting back to that, but in reality, God is doing a new thing. And the only way that I could receive the new thing that God has for me is by actually perceiving it to be a new thing. Because when you have the idea and when you have the foresight that this is something that you've never experienced before, the prayers are going to be different. My posture is going to be different. Dare I say, because I've had my experiences in the past with God, I wasn't as reverent. I'm not praying as much because it's just like I'm still stuck on how God did it back then. And sad to say, at times, because we've seen God show up in a certain way, we feel like we don't need to apply a new level of pressure when it comes to prayer. We feel like we don't need to have a new level of seeking God, right? But I find myself in this situation where I've been in this scenario for over a year, probably the longest I've ever been in a scenario. And I believe God has got me to this point to remind me that you are still looking behind you as to what I've done, but we are in a new timeline, baby. This is longer than what you ever experienced. This is requiring so much more loss than you've ever experienced. This is requiring a new level of mindset for you to keep going. So the only way in order for you to sustain all of this newness is to require and to get down and surrender and provide yourself a new level of intimacy with me. I cannot lean on the ways that I was doing things before my cat died, before the second layoff, before the long periods of unemployment. I have to bring in a new level of seeking God. And I don't know who this is for, but I know that's for me. You know, I just left church, thank God, woo woo. I'm deciding to go back to church again because, again, I was just getting knocked down. I was knocked down. I allowed myself to get knocked down because I was still stuck on this is what I did the last time and this what came out of it. And imagine you're still stuck in that same cycle of, well, I'm doing the same things that I did last time. But God is saying, like, this is something new. You can't do the same things you did last time, babes. You have to do something different in order to meet the newness that I'm giving you. And in this season, I'm recognizing and realizing, like, now moving forward, hindsight is the best sight, that I need to be moving in a more reverent arena when it comes to God. And I believe because everything looks new, I believe God wants me to get deeper. I believe God wants me to seek him a lot more because he sees that I'm stuck on the past. And it literally says, do not dwell on the past. It literally says that in our word, do not dwell on the past. Like, yes, God has done so many things, and that can be your level of foundation of faith. but that's not going to carry you through a season where it's not the same. So for me, it's realizing I was doing my Bible, I was doing a morning routine, but I believe in this season I'm being called to do a night routine as well. Because I'm in a new territory. This is new. I've never been here before. So I can't bring my old routines. I have to create new routines in order to mitigate what's happening in this season, in order to keep me driven and keep me full of faith. Like that's what's happening. That's what's under attack here is my faith. And if I'm allowing my faith to be taken away from me because I'm still focusing on past things, and that was just not the call. So I'm robbing myself of a new level of faith, a new level of understanding, because I'm deciding to stay in the same cycle. And I'm also deciding, at the time, no longer deciding, but I was comparing myself. I was comparing my walk with other people's walks. And I have to realize, my walk is nobody else's but my own. No one's going to understand the depths of what I go through other than myself and God. And I have to trust that through what God and I know, that we will get on the other side of things. I am only supposed to be dependent on God. And I believe God had to take everything around me in order for me to actually have to depend on him. No choice. But I don't want that to be the time where you start seeking God. I don't want that to be the moment where you decide to fall on your knees and seek him wholeheartedly. I want you to actually have a choice in this, I think for me, I ran away from it because I continually decided that what I was giving was already a lot because of what I was comparing my walk to be with other people's walks, because I fast more than others, or I read my word in the morning. I'm thinking I'm doing better. But the only person I should be comparing myself to is the standard of what God has for me and the will that God wants for me. And because I've had that revelation and I've had this new level of thought, that means I need to look more towards God to see, what does God think of me? What does God say about me? Why is it my walk needs to be a little bit more deeper than others? Why is it am I being called to not focus on the things of the past and get into depth as far as what my relationship is? That is something I need to seek out with God. I can't compare myself to my own understanding of what I believe it should look like, when in reality, my understanding I'm not supposed to lean on in the first place. And these are all revelations, these are all working revelations. These are all new. And I'm talking as I'm dealing with it. And hopefully this makes sense to everyone, and hopefully makes sense to me when I play it back. But this is just all new, right? And I need to not look outside of myself for answers. I need to posture myself in order to receive the answers from God. And that's only going to come from me treating this as to what it is, treating this as to how it needs to be stewarded over. So for instance, I could give you an example. Let's think about when we're working out and we have our new bodies. And this is also something that I'm getting into a new mindset of, okay? This is actually a perfect metaphor because I'm actually in real time dealing with this. So I have acquired my workout goals. Your girl has reached the weight that she wanted to reach. I didn't even say I wanted to reach a specific weight. I just said I wanted to wear a specific pant size that I used to wear. And that was because that was when I felt my most healthiest. That's when I was the most active, when I was eating right, all of the things. And I just acquired it to that size. I say that all to say, now I'm at that size, right? And I've reached my goal. How I came into the goal was by eating in a calorie deficit and by majority cardio. That's how I came into the goal. Eating my fruits and veggies, but also in a deficit because I was trying to lose weight and specifically lose fat. Lose visceral fat at that. Lose that stubborn fat that wouldn't want to let me go, because I'm at an age where fat don't want to let you go. So I was doing all of these tactics in order for me to reach this goal. Now I've reached it, right? I'm in the body. This is going to require me new tactics in order to maintain it. I can't keep coming with the calorie deficit, and I can't keep coming with cardio, because guess what? I will tell you that I was doing that. I was bringing my old techniques as far as like what I wanted and what I was after. And guess what? I'm losing my booty. All right, the booty is getting flat. And at the end of the day, it is what it is, because I am just a soul in a body. All right, but I'm saying this all to say, I tried to bring what got me to this point into this new body and this new weight system and this new class, but I don't want to lose no more weight. So it's going to require for me to look into different tactics and bring in new strategies in order for me to maintain weight and not lose it. And this goes all according to what I was talking about, as far as like we can't bring the old strategies into something new, because we're going to derail what we're trying to do in the first place. I'm derailing my progress because I said I want to be in a pant size. I want to reach this weight line. All right, if I keep going in a calorie deficit, that means I'm going to keep losing weight, and I'm going to get into a smaller dress size, and etc. And that's not what I want. So I'm derailing my progress. I'm derailing what I set out to do. And this just carries on into what I see into my spiritual life, I can't come with the, okay, I'm going to pray top of the year. I'm going to do praying and fasting only in January, and maybe do it in August, and then do a morning routine of prayer, but mostly just read the word and do that in the morning, and then get the word on Sunday. And that was me getting deeper. That was me at a point of being deeper with God when I decided to do New Year's fast, and I decided to start a morning routine where I'm reading my word. Like that was a big step for me. That was me acquiring depth. However, at some point you are in a kiddie pool and you can't stand on your feet, but then there's going to be a point where the 3 feet hits your thighs, hits your waist, wherever your height is. But there's going to be a point where you're going to stand, and it's going to require you to get even deeper with God. So now I feel challenged in a sense, because I don't even feel like pressured or whatever, but I just feel like because I'm acquiring new things, I'm encountering more loss than I've ever encountered before. I'm encountering where I need to literally seek God for provision. That means I can't come with only fasting January. Like, I can't only touch base with God only in the morning. I can't only pray when I'm around others. My depth has to get deeper. I'm standing now. The water is now too shallow for me. I have to get deeper because life is getting deeper. Things are getting deeper. I'm learning depths within myself. I'm becoming a person I don't even recognize anymore. Why is that? Why is that? Why am I no longer recognizing myself? It's because I am not in control over what is happening. God is making me, pruning me, and changing me to look more like them. Therefore, I will never have the insight that I need to know in order to navigate this new body and this new being that I've been presented with, unless I get deeper unless I do something new. And that's my call right now. That's my challenge right now. It's finding ways to get deeper and building more intimacy with God because I need it. I can't really be fruitful without it. Truly and honestly. So it's not only giving morning. I'm going to need to do a night routine. I'm going to need to get my prayer life in order. I'm going to need to pray a little bit more. Not know, oh, Lord, help them now. No, I need to come at the feet of God for myself, for my bloodline, for my friends, for my family. I need to be fasting more. I need to live a fasted lifestyle. It's not only New Year's, but I need to probably fast weekly. It might sound OD to the people that it might sound OD to, but I feel like life is changing for me. I'm not the same person I used to be. I don't even like the things that I used to like. I don't even want to hang around the things that I used to like to hang around. And I believe because there's so much internal changes as far as my likes and dislikes, and even the things that I used to watch, that I would watch that would not give me any level of conviction. Like, I literally get convicted now when I watch certain things because I'm like, I don't think this is something that I should be watching. Especially if this is something I'm trying to pray against my flesh about. If I'm praying against lust and I'm praying against succumbing to sexual desires, I don't believe I should open my eyes and open my heart to watch things that have a lot of sex scenes in it. And I mean, that's just a level of maturity. You're not gonna put yourself in positions where you can be tempted or where you can revert back to your old ways. And I believe a lot of the things that I was calling my personality and calling that's just who I am or it doesn't affect me was secretly and silently in the background affecting me and affecting my day-to-day actions. I have more knowledge, so with more knowledge, you really can't finagle and do the things that used to bring you joy. Like, there's certain things when the veil comes off that you cannot unsee it. And now I'm in a season where I'm literally asking God, where I'm asking God, current, present, and I'm continuing to grow in these areas. Like, I'm now getting my foot wet. I'm now entering this area. So truly and honestly, I'm just saying from what I'm gathering as I move forward and as I push through is, if you really want to know who you're going to be in this world, and if things are not making sense the way that you feel like it should make sense, that means we need to lean more into the bosom of God. lean in order to get more clarity, because only God knows what this is supposed to all look like. And I believe because I've lost my sight in this arena, I believe it's because I was never supposed to be going forth with my sight in the first place. I was never supposed to lean on my own understanding, and I was never supposed to lean on my thoughts of how things should go. I was never supposed to compare my walks with other people's walks in a way that made me feel better or made me feel worse about myself, because it's not about that. And I believe my whole movement is being challenged and being called to something new and requiring a new level of depth from me and a new level of surrender. Because genuinely, like, I have to throw it in the wind. I have to caution it to the wind, because it was never for me in the first place. It was never mine in the first place. This plan was never mine in the first place. I did not create myself. I have no idea what's happening here. I was never intended to play out of my own plans. Like, how do I know what's best for me? How do my parents know what's best for me when God already had plans for me before I was even created in my mother's womb? Before I was even a thought in my mom's idea and sense that she wanted to have a daughter named Iyanna. God already knew me. God already had a plan for me. Therefore, I need to seek God in order to get more understanding as to what my plan is. And stop getting frustrated that old things are not working in something that's new. I'm talking to myself. Like, imagine the self-inflicted pain that is feeling like you should know what to do in a scene, in a scenario you've never been in, with new characters you've never had. There's people who are my friends that I didn't even think would be my friends. I'm meeting new people that I've never really thought that I would meet. Like, everything is new. So I can't bring old tactics. I can't bring my old mindset. I can't bring the things that worked in the past. Do not dwell on the past. I'm doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? Do you not perceive it? And now I'm perceiving it. I'm recognizing it. It took some time. My head is stubborn, deprogramming, but I'm here now. I have an idea now, and I'm grateful that I was able to reach a place where I can subscribe to this. And I'm not pushing it, and I'm not rejecting it. Like, I'm accepting it for what it is. And I'm bringing this to your tables in order for you to accept whatever it is in your season as well. Whatever perception of what you think this is, and if it is something new in your life, treat it as such. Get some insight with the overall game player, which is God. Get some insight as to what they want for your life, why are you here? Like, these are my questions that I was asking. And because again, I'm in Texas at a time period that at a time period that's not my time period. I'm here not in the basis that I thought I would be here. And I've lost a lot of things along the way. And I believe it was never my plan in the first place. I believe God just put it in my heart so I could come in agreement with it. But God had their own plan as to what Texas would look like for me. And it's now 2 years 2 years in, and I finally have thrown my caution to the wind and am deciding to no longer choose my plan over the plan that was created for me long ago, before I was even a thought. So I want to leave that with y'all, and we're gonna get through this. We're learning as we go, and it's not in a sense of shame. Never feel shame, never feel guilt. It's supposed to feel empowering. This is supposed to bring empowerment, because now you have more tools necessary to live out your life. Now you know what you need to be doing, i.e. myself as well. I know what I should be doing. So that means the next few days, next few years of my life is going to look different with this new level of insight. It won't be as frustrating when I don't see things go my way, because genuinely I have accepted the fact that things are not supposed to go my way. Overall, it's God's will. And I'm accepting that. I'm understanding that, and actually sitting with that and meditating on it, which means with every area of my life, it's not my will. So when things don't go my way, it was never meant to go according to my way. So guess what? That levies me from being upset. That levies me from being disappointed, because these are all emotions that only come through, dare I say, arrogance. Because how dare I feel like I know more than what God knows? And also it requires me a level of submission to continue to seek God and continue to understand what God knows about me. What is this new thing, God? I will only know if I put myself in a posture to seek it out and know what this is. Why is this happening? I will only know if I posture myself to seek it, and seek it thoroughly, and not reject what is requiring of me. So thank you all for listening. I truly do appreciate you tuning in every Monday or throughout the week, whatever time period you listen to it. And I just hope this message edifies you. I hope you share it with someone else or you apply it in your own lives and whatever you choose to do with it. But I just hope you don't keep it to yourself. I hope you don't just bury it down. I really want you to move with this new knowledge so that you can change the trajectory of your life and also your emotional state. Because there's a lot of things we're getting depressed and upset about that were never created for us to be upset and depressed about, because the only reasons why we are that is because we feel like our plan is not working. But let me remind you, it was never intended to work. So, with all love, it's your girl, Iyanna, and I wish you the best day. Mwah. Hold on, let me get my hand. Mwah. The Alchemist.